Shocking is the best word to describe the Amazon Prime show, The Boys. The TV series had numerous moments that left fans scratching their heads. For those who haven't kept up with the comics and demand an explanation, we got you covered. Today we'll be unpacking the common confusions we've all had while binging the show. First of all, why was Homelander's son a big secret from him? Homelander's character is violent, aggressive, and nuanced with a need for control. This has made him a difficult soup to rein in for the Vought. So why keep the existence of his child a secret? You may be tempted to think that maybe, just maybe, Vought wanted to keep Becca and her son safe from the obvious danger that is Homelander's temper. But that's not so. The real reason Vought kept them under the wraps from its biggest superstar was that it kept him in a cycle of predictability. Since the higher-ups at Vought couldn't have guessed how the effect of this knowledge would play out on Homelander, they assumed the worst and let sleeping dogs lie. When Ryan is first revealed in Season 2, Homelander's obsession with becoming a father is almost overwhelming, to the point that it could have been a pawn in the struggle to keep Homelander under Vought's thumb. But they were too slow to see it. Secondly, what became of Teddy Stillwell after Madeline's murder? The senior vice president of Vought's superhero management, Madeline Stillwell, was quite possibly the only character in Season 1 to have any sizable influence on Homelander. Her weird relationship with Homelander was almost gross, but outside of work, she was quite devoted to her newborn, Teddy. This fact sometimes appeared to make Homelander envious, making it the perfect motive to kill Teddy. But instead, Homelander ends up killing his mother. He does to Teddy what Vought did to Homelander, depriving him of a motherly figure to care for him. Season 2 gives no leads to what happened to him. Teddy, as is soon revealed in Season 3, grows up in an orphanage with superpowers to teleport. Weird, right? This makes you question who exactly is his father and why he has any powers at all. For all we know, Teddy may fit in the grander scheme of things in the seasons soon to come. At least we sure hope so. Next up, how did Kimiko end up in a cage? Kimiko is arguably one of the strongest characters introduced yet. She can not only heal herself completely, but also has super strength. And in the first few scenes that we first meet her, she's also already slain her captors. While Kimiko came across as dangerous, she wasn't always this way. This girl was a test subject for Vought's inhumane activities. She was given Compound V, so she could have superpowers and healing abilities artificially. They kept her in a cage so she wouldn't expose them. She would never join the team, so they tried to find ways to kill her. In doing so, they'd find a way to control Homelander. Moving on, before the Seven, what was Stormfront up to? Stormfront kicked up a storm when she joined the Seven in Season 2, but the mystery of her origins has intrigued fans a lot. We know she's one of the strongest on the team, but her alleged immortality is what her past is all about. Stormfront has been alive for nearly 100 years, during her days back when she was married to Frederick Vought, the creator of the Super Company. Crazy, right? Well, her story gets crazier. Stormfront was a staunch Nazi and was injected with Compound V by her husband. While her powers grew, her support for Nazism didn't change. Even after the Second World War, it's impossible for a person to do nothing for decades before they hit the limelight. But Stormfront's whereabouts were hidden because Vought wanted to keep her incredible immortality out of public knowledge. Not to mention, she was incredibly racist, so it's no wonder they'd hide her away for the most part. Next we have, why was Alistair so obsessed with getting the Deep to join the Church of the Collective? The Deep, more or less, completely embarrassed himself in Season 1 and had his horrible fall from grace become public knowledge. He was so vulnerable that it only made sense that he'd be the perfect candidate for a cult-like religious group called the Church of the Collective. Alistair Adana must have wanted a soup among them for a very long time, or else he wouldn't have become so invested in the Deep. Very little is actually known of this fictional church, and we're not exactly sure where the Deep fits in their grand plan, but this much is certain. They practically arrange his marriage to Cassandra Schwartz. After Alistair's murder, fair, the church got little screen time in season 3, so who knows when their existence aligns with the major storyline next. The big question: why kill Alistair Adana without so much as a word? One of the most shocking moments from season 2 was when Victoria Newman literally blew the head of one of the most influential men of the Church of the Collective. The reason why this scene held so much shock value was that she did it just by looking through his office, without so much as an actual fight. To understand this murder, you'll need to understand Victoria Newman and where she fits in the puzzle. She's recently been appointed the head of Soup Affairs, and just happens to be the adopted daughter of Stan Edgar, making Vought a much more personal affair. What led her to murder Alistair was the simple fact that he tried to bargain dirt on the company's superstars in exchange for tax exemption for the Church of the Collective. She simply didn't want anyone of influence to have such powerful information, because then she won't be able to use it for herself later on. To keep the monopoly, she coldly wiped off the competition. The real reason why Maeve no longer held power over Homelander? Homelander has always been a menace, and we're all fully aware of how everyone around him always walked on eggshells. People were either trying to save people from him or themselves, because let's face it, he's the most terrifying character in the whole show. And why wouldn't people run for cover around him? Yet he is the most loved superhero among them. To keep him in check, Maeve kept a video of him where he threatened a plane full of stressed passengers and then let them die in a crash he could have prevented. With the knowledge that this video could break his career, he complied with whatever Maeve had to say. Something changed between seasons 2 and 3, and that's when Maeve could no longer get a hold of Homelander for the violence he repeatedly commits. An interesting theory is that he's about to reach a point where he'll finally spiral. Another reason could be that Maeve and Homelander have fought one too many times, and this is the final straw. Homelander has had enough and no longer cares how this would affect him should this video get leaked. It would only make sense if he completely loses control at this point. Moving on, if Stormfront was immortal, why did she choose to die? Stormfront lived for so long, she could almost be a vampire, except she was worse because she was a Nazi. She was alive for decades, trying ever so persistently to make a master race and bring back Nazism in modern times. She tried everything, changed identities, and moved back and forth, but did it really work? Homelander never supported her twisted views, and by the looks of the TV, neither did anyone else. If he didn't support her, well, no one else would either, because who would stand up to the terrifying Homelander after all? So when Ryan, the Homelander's son, severely injured her in season 2, she got hurt enough to stay in bed all day. Don't be confused though, she did still have her powers keeping her alive, and eventually would have gone back to normal, but she just chose not to. What did she have to live for anyway? The grand Nazi revival wasn't happening, and her supposed man, Homelander, didn't support the cause, so she chose to end her life. Lastly, does Black Noir hallucinate cartoon characters, or is there another reason why he sees them? While Black Noir has mostly been a silent character who does Vought's dirty work silently and discreetly, it's hard to understand his feelings and really know what he's thinking. So when we see that his vision is made of cartoon characters, we aren't allowed to know his reaction to them. To understand the real reason why he sees them, we'll have to remember that while he was a part of Payback, the team that came before the Seven, he got brutal injuries from Soldier Boy. While his healing abilities almost healed everything else, his brain was left out of the process. Even his powers weren't strong enough to fix his neurological damage. So it goes, Black Noir and his cartoon friends became his dominant vision. The showrunners also confessed that they didn't like the idea of telling Black Noir's story using only flashbacks, and that using cartoons was a fun and weird way that they preferred. In any case, we sure loved the addition. All hope is reserved to see Black Noir again in the coming episodes. For now, hope all the mysteries of The Boys have become mysteries no more for you. That's a wrap for this video. show? What do you think will happen in the show next? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.